What's going on, Commander fans? Welcome to Taking Command with Josh Taylor. And it's been an exciting trade deadline, one of the craziest, busiest trade deadlines in NFL history, which is just going on trend with how the last offseason was and so on. So, crazy day, but nonetheless, the one thing that's particular to the Washington Commanders, you can say that the Vikings trading for TJ Hawkinson from the Lions has to do with Washington because that's who we play this Sunday at the Blackout game, which I'll be at, by the way, and you should too. But today, we knew that Washington was likely going to get rid of William Jackson III in some way. I didn't think we would actually find a trade partner, but Washington actually did. It sounds like there was another team involved too. I want to say it was probably the Cowboys. That's just my gut. Don't know that. But that was a name that came up a couple of times. But at the end of the day, the Pittsburgh Steelers traded for William Jackson III. Couple things to note on this. Obviously, it's not a huge difference, but there is a difference between releasing and trading William Jackson III. But then also just quickly, my thoughts moving forward, what the defenses look like and what I'm looking for in the near future at corner for Washington. But like I said, Washington sends William Jackson III to Pittsburgh for a late round swap in the future. I know it's not too exciting. A conditional 6th round pick in 2025. It's swapping for a 7th round 2025 conditional of Washington's. So we can go from a 7th to possibly a 6th. There's some conditions there. Obviously, don't know the full details, but that's 2025. Not too worried about that. But most importantly is the salary cap. But I think this is also, for William Jackson III, I think this is a great fit for him, mostly because of the scheme that the Steelers run. They're pretty heavy in man, but they're also down a couple injuries. So on, defense hasn't looked nearly the same. But also Terrell Austin, who is the defensive coordinator for the Steelers, coached William Jackson III in Cincinnati. I want to say in 2018, when he was, at his best. Honestly, WJ3 was a good corner in Cincinnati. And personally, I was excited to get him when we signed him. It just hasn't lived up to it, whether it's scheme, so on. Me personally, I say if you can't play man and zone as a corner in the NFL in today's league, then you're just not a good corner. I don't like guys who can only play a certain way, whether it's press, close coverage. I want a guy who can, play off coverage, soft press, bail. Doesn't matter. That's what I want out of my corners. Didn't work out here. I think he'll do, I'm not saying great in Pittsburgh. I don't think it's going to be like some all-pro level, but I think he will be an improvement of what we saw here in Washington. So he's somewhere he belongs, much better. It's not ours anymore. Now, coming down to it, what does the money look like? And I sent out a tweet. If you don't follow me on Twitter, by the way, at Josh Taylor FB, you can see it at the bottom of the screen over there. But nonetheless, what does this mean for Washington? If we would have released him, yes, it still would have freed up some money and it still would have come with some dead cap hits. But the Steelers kind of helped us out, adding a couple $1 million to the savings. So let's hear it right here. William Jackson brings over this is from Spot Track, by the way, on Twitter. You can look at it yourself. William Jackson brings a 1.5 year, $15.85 million contract to the Steelers, which is still kind of high, which is including 2022, $3.1 million, which is $2.7 million guaranteed this year for the Steelers. The next year, $12.75 contract, none guaranteed though. So that's good. Now the Commanders, the dead cap for this year is $10.6 million. Yes, that absolutely is killer. Not good. But it would have been more. But the Steelers took that $3.1 million. So they added a $3.1 million hit to the savings of Washington versus just releasing him, and then he goes to the wires and so on. So Washington does save an extra $3.1 million this year, but it's still a pretty massive cap hit. And then next year, it is a $9 million dead cap hit for the Commanders. So a $12.75 million savings by just not having him on the team right now. Now, I want to clarify, that doesn't mean a total of 12.75 because we traded him. It's because he is no longer on the team this year that the dead cap goes down. But trading him does save that $3.1 million to Steelers. So I just want to clarify that. People are saying, what's the difference? The whole cap thing, people say it's a myth that doesn't exist. It's so confusing. I like to get the numbers before I actually start talking about something. But I just want to clarify that trading him, the biggest difference is that $3.1 million. But all in all, he is off the books. So next year, you won't have to worry about that. A $12.75 million savings by releasing, trading, whatever, just getting rid of William Jackson III. So what does that mean? A couple of things. Yes, you have some more money. You know, a lot of people have said to me on the replies on Twitter, once again, that means we can pay both Daron Payne and Montez Sweat. I want to say possibly. It's definitely up in the air. You've got to pay Chase Young in the coming years. Do you want to put that much money invested on your D line? So on, whatever. Now, this is what a few notes. I think the defense has been much better since William Jackson's come off the field. I think he was just a liability, whether it was scheme or how he was playing or who he was guarding, whatever. But, I mean, against the Bears, I mean, Justin Fields has looked better these last few weeks than he did against us. Our offense was just, stale. Same with the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, they're going through struggles. They should have made some trades today. It didn't happen. But still, I like what I saw out of our secondary against Green Bay. And then same last week against the Colts. I know it's Sam Ehlinger. He had a couple plays. Stats-wise, his yardage was a little bit higher than I would have liked. But still, I did not see that big play ability in the last few games since he has come off the field, like we saw against the Cowboys where CeeDee Lamb's toasting them. And against, it seems like every time he was on the field, he would give up one big play at least. So I think it's refreshing. You have, Kendall Fuller. You don't know what the future looks like with him either. But then Ben St-Juste looked good inside, but now he has, kind of solidified himself on the outside. And then you have a guy like Rashard Wildgoose in the slot, more of like that nickel corner, who's looked great. I think he spent some time with the Bills for a little bit. He kind of bounced around. But every now and then you kind of just find those random guys out there that might be a little diamond in the rough that can really just come on the team and plays well. And he's played great. Now, of course, we have a huge test next week against the Vikings, which, like I said, they made a trade as well. They've got some things cooking. We know what Kirk Cousins can do, but, you talk about all the weapons they have around them, Justin Jefferson and so on. I think this is going to be a big test coming up of what this defense looks like. Now, like I said, I'm still satisfied with what I've seen, but I don't think Washington is done. I don't know if we keep Kendall Fuller. I think they would like to, maybe a year or so, but that's not a guarantee. But this is a NFL draft that I really, really, really like the corners. This is probably one of my favorite corner drafts I can remember. You see a young guy like Derek Stingley and especially Sauce Gardner, who I love Sauce Gardner, one of my favorite corners that I've, scouted and looked at personally. He's one of the most shut down, lockdown corners. I knew he was going to come on strong, and he's playing lights out. I think he should be right up there for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, he is as advertised right now for the Jets. Washington needs that greatly. If you're going to put money on the defensive line, which has been balling out this year, and rightfully so, like they should get paid, whether it's Payne, Sweat, both of them, whatever, it allows you to draft and have a cheap, young, but stud corner on the outside. Someone like a Patrick Surtain. I would absolutely love that. And I'm going to be doing some breakdowns and scouting and some tapes and films on this channel. So subscribe and like so you don't miss out on that. But I'm talking guys like my guy Joey Porter Jr. from Penn State, Keely Ringo from Georgia, Cam Smith from South Carolina, Clark Phillips from Utah, Garrett Williams. There's so many corners in this draft. You can absolutely find your future playmaker on the outside in this draft. So I think Washington had to move on. They did. They have some money saved now that they can spread out elsewhere. But as of for the rest of this year, you're looking at what you have in Ben St-Juste, Wildgoose, and Kendall Fuller. And then maybe we'll see some Christian Holmes, some more of these depth guys on the outside. But then you can also look at getting that guy, whether it's in the first or second. I would love a first-round corner. I know we need offensive line too. I'm going to be looking at that as well. But I would love to just get that lockdown Patrick Surtain type corner on the outside. And then if Kendall Fuller's gone, then cool. You have St. Juice on the outside and you keep Wild Goose in, or if he's not, then you have depth pieces, which we still don't have right now, that depth corner. So if someone gets hurt, we're absolutely going to be looking for someone. But guys, I appreciate y'all checking out this video. Once again, William Jackson III is traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Washington is relieved of that awful free agency signing. I think he'll do well in Pittsburgh. But nonetheless, Washington, I am dying for that future lockdown corner for our defense. Subscribe to the channel and like, and I will see y'all soon on some more videos with replays, film breakdown, studying draft players, recaps of the games, previews, and so on. Been a little bit busy the last 2 weeks. Haven't been able to put a video up just because doing Penn State football and stuff and traveling around. But nonetheless, subscribe and stay tuned for some awesome content here on Taking Command with Josh Taylor. See y'all later.